Right, so your heading is voltage dividers. You've got it in your jotter. So, a circuit, simply a series circuit, two resistors, R1 and R2, V1 and V2. Now, we worked out last day that it was the share of the voltage, the share of the voltage the resistor gets is to do with the share of the total resistance it has. So, start off with a formula and say, okay, we want to know the voltage across resistor 1. Then we need to know what share is resistor 1 of the total resistance first. So, if I do R1 over RT, that's the fraction that tells us what share it has of the total resistance. If the total resistance is 10 and resistor 1 is 5, then that's half of the total resistance. Everyone see that? Anyone not see that if that was 5 and that was 10, that would be a half? So for example, if resistor 1 was 5 and the total resistance was 10, then that resistor would be half of the total resistance, which means it gets half of the total voltage. Right, so that's the first part. Now, if this is a fraction, R1 over RT, if we multiply that by our voltage supply, then that says if that's a half, the half of voltage supply. If we multiply by voltage supply, we're taking half of the voltage supply. So whatever voltage, whatever resistance share is, that means that's the share it's going to have of the voltage. So V1 equals the fraction that it is of the total resistance times the voltage supply. Now the way it's written in your data book is V1 equals R1 over R1 plus R2, so that's just total, multiplied by Vs. So that's, what fraction is it? And multiply that by the supply, and that'll give you the voltage that's going across that resistor. If we want to know V2, all we do is switch these, we change these two here, this one and this one for number 2. So V2 equals R2 over R1 plus R2, so that's total again, times Vs. Resistance values, supply values, and voltage values. You will always be given enough information to complete this. Now the last formula we have, which is also in your data book, is this formula, V1 over V2 equals R1 over R2. That's really essentially telling you that whatever this fraction is, has to be the same as this fraction. The share of the voltage it has is directly to do with the share of the resistance it has. Okay? So, there's your formulas, there's your circuit. I want you to copy that down into your jotter just now. And then I'm going to give you a note which helps explain the fractions idea again. Okay, the voltage supply is shared between the resistors. The amount of share of voltage depends on the resistance. The share of the total resistance the resistor is the share of the voltage it gets. Two Izzies, whatever. Now voltage equals the resistor share of the supply voltage. So whatever the share of the resistors, that's the share of the supply voltage. And that's where we get a formula from. V1 equals R1 over RT, which is R1 plus R2. I'll put that in as well. V1 equals R1 over R1 plus R2 times Vs. Sometimes you get the times in, sometimes you don't. It's just maybe just sometimes read in your data book. It'll read like that.
Is that meant to be V1 equals R1 over R1?
Yep. Okay, so that's where we get a formula from. Just for the record, Call of Duty is not sad when you get over the age of... What age?
30. 19.
I'm not even 30 yet!
Well, 29 then.
I'm not even 29 yet!
26.
Right, it's not sad once you get over the age of 26.
Bad for me as well.
According to Liam, I'm a sad.
Yeah.
Bad for me.
That's loose. Wait, you man. I'm half his age.
Anyway,
I'm half his age, but...
I'll do it.